We have a wicked session, and chairing that is Jay Richards from Imagen Insights. So I'd like to welcome them to the stage. Please put your hands together.
Oh, I'm super OCD, so I really want to sit in the order of the pictures. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Because if not, it gets confusing. You might think I'm Ruby, and then it's just like, it throws the whole thing off. Everyone's like, we wouldn't think that, Jay. Why are you saying that? Good morning, everybody. It's not the morning, it's the afternoon. I'm tired. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Richards, one of the co-founders at Imagen Insights. We enable brands like Apple, Amazon, and Nike to crowdsource qualitative insight from Gen Z in a matter of minutes. Shut up, Jay. Nobody's here to hear you talk. So, I'm here to talk to this lovely panel. Ruby, Nick. Ruby, do you want to introduce yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ruby. I'm a professional Fortnite player and content creator for Guild.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm SVP of Creative and Strategy at Guild Esports, one of the UK's leading esports teams.
Love that. Ruby, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah.
Because everybody's here to hear you talk. Let's be honest. Nobody's here to come and hear Nick and I. Nick's great. Nick's wonderful.
Don't worry, you carry on.
Yeah, everyone's here to hear Ruby. Ruby, what's it like being a professional gamer?
Really fun, but it is a lot harder than people think because you're obviously, I would relate it to working for yourself, your own business. When you're not streaming, you're not earning money, when you're not creating content, and like gaming and content changes so much. Like constantly, there's new trends, new things happening, games change. So I play Fortnite, there's a new season, new stuff to talk about and get involved in to really keep like viewers engaged. And it takes a lot of time. A lot of time I'm just in my room playing or recording something, working on new things. So yeah, people don't realize how much time it takes as a content creator, or when you play professionally, the time it takes to invest into the game to get really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does that, and I'm already going off script, my comms director is going to kill me, but how does that, like, for you having to spend all that time gaming and doing all that, does it feel like a job? Because I'm like, oh my God, gaming, you just do it full time. How does it feel like a job?
It's kind of yes and no.
Yeah.
I love playing, I love streaming. To my viewers, you build an amazing community, it's awesome. Meeting new people, traveling as well. You can do it inside it, traveling. Guild took me to Sweden to compete in a tournament. So I met loads of people there that are awesome. But then at the same time, there is parts of it that I don't enjoy. TikTok, you have to post on that to grow. It's the easiest thing to grow on, but I hate doing short form content. I don't know why, I just dislike it. But yeah, there's some parts of it that you do like, some parts that you don't. But as long as you enjoy it all and your viewers and everything's engaged and you're having fun when you're doing it, then it's so rewarding.
That's great. It's encouraging to me because there's parts of your job you love, parts of your job you don't like. You know what I mean? We've all got that.
Yes,
all right, Nick, talking to you. Glad you're here. You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Nick, is it possible to define gaming culture? Like, can we make assumptions and generalizations around gaming culture?
So one of the analogy I like to give about gaming culture now, I'm nearly 40, unfortunately, is that I feel like for people of my generation, when I talk to them about what I do, there's been nothing like this since the advent of rock and roll. I imagine like 40-year-olds and anyone older in the 1950s, well, we know, losing their mind, thinking that God was going to come and smite all the kids under the age of 18 because they're crazy dancing and the music that they're into. But they just had no affinity with it at all. And I think that's really where we're at now, is that people find it very difficult to understand what they think is gaming culture. Yeah. And I do think, but to simplify it and to not worry about us all being smited or not really ever understanding, I think really what gaming has become, and because it's, I mean, even in this room, I was surprised how many people put their hand up, to be honest, when we were asking, when the last panel asked how many people were gamers, is in that generation of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, it's effectively just endemic. Yeah. Okay? There's no such thing really as gamers, because everyone does it. Yeah. The tribalism that we saw at the start of the advent of digital content, where we go, everyone would talk about tribes and what people were into and the echo chamber and everything like that, and the difficulty for advertisers to market to those people is sort of negated by gaming because everyone's a gamer. Yeah, for sure. You know, so anyone under the age of 18 is talking about 93-94% consider themselves to be avid gamers, right? So think of it that way. and think, right, well, I love using music talent, I love using sports talent, I have a sports organisation. Gaming allows you that. It's sort of the centre of the Venn diagram, whereas 5, 10, maybe 15 years ago, it was all the way over here.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think a lot of the people we talk to still think of it as being over here and aren't aware of the fact that it's actually right in the middle.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes complete sense. And Ruby, for you, because we hear about a lot of the challenges around gaming, right? We hear like, oh, it's hard to do, it's hard to do that. For you, what are some of the positive experiences? What are the positive bits that you love about gaming that makes you get up in the morning?
I mean, it's fun playing Fortnite for a living. Yeah, it's fun, like you enjoy it, and people do it as an escape. And for me, you have your community, because I stream as well on Twitch, and you have community that come into your stream to escape life, or they come in, they have it up while they're working on their little monitor. They tell me that they're at work. So just having that as a community, and gaming also enables you to reach, I have viewers that are 50 and then viewers that are like 14, and having that all equally in a massive just like community together. People make friends online, people get into relationships online. But yeah, it's so much fun. The community, that really makes streaming so much fun for me. But then also playing the video game itself, it's fun and it's new, like they have new games, new updates. So it's always changing, and you meet new people, and so much fun times and experiences from it.
So top line, it's just fun. Like, I just need to
it's
game
just-
more.
it's
You're making me
fun.
feel old, man. Jeez. All right, Nick. From your side, what are the ways that advertisers can turn up authentically for gamers? How can that be done well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll say this, but I think is the biggest area of potential to do that, because and in my career, I've worked in digital entertainment, I've worked in sports, I've worked with the UFC, lots of emerging brands, and I think gaming has a really big opportunity for people who are looking to have a real penetration quite quickly, particularly traditional media owners, because it's an area that's been built authentically. It's been built by its community, and it's in many ways it's the fact that no one's wanted to get stuck in with it that actually makes it really potentially very valuable for big brands, because it really needs it now. It needs, at the end of the day, the sports industry in particular is underpinned by advertising and is underpinned by media. Without those two things, the sports industry wouldn't exist.
For sure.
And we've actually built an industry without those two things. So for advertisers to come in, there's a lot that they can still do, particularly on a domestic level. So the big problem that we have when we go and talk to partners when we're competing on global events is that they don't really want to talk to a global audience, right? If you're a broadband company, for example, you're trying to sell broadband in the UK. So that competition on a global scale is not actually that attractive to them. But the amazing thing about gaming, and the team from EE really put it really well before, is it's for the first time ever in entertainment, there's a playground. It's almost a sandbox for you to go and do whatever you want to do. I always use the example of Star Wars, right? If BBC wanted to make a Star Wars series, they'd love to make a Star Wars series, but there's no way they'd ever be able to make a Star Wars series, right? It would cost them billions to go and get those rights. But if you want to go and create something that's relevant to your brand in Fortnite, for example, and you can go and do it. They just told you they've done it a number of times. Or if you wanted to go and create a Fortnite tournament, we're doing one with Ruby, to support her community and the way of her amplifying to her community before she competes on a global scale. So the main thing really is that and again going back to what was said before, if you're brave, you don't really have any inhibitors to what you can do in the gaming space. It's very much aligned with what you love about Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? Where they want things to be inclusive, they want things to be authentic, they want things to be progressive, they want things that they can share, that they can be a part of. And those are all things that brands have always dreamt about having, but not been able to do.
Yeah, great, really good answer. And also, just to get you guys on your toes, we have a mic. So if you have any questions at the end, we're going to come to you. And it's kind of awkward if you just leave us up here without questions. So I'm expecting you guys to have questions. Ruby, for you, so we've heard from Nick's perspective, how is it, because you're gaming day in and day out, and brands are going to want to engage with you, like Nick's saying. It's important to do that. How can brands, and I hate the word authentically, I don't want to use it again because it's such an annoying, like, what does it even mean? But how can they turn up transparently to you and to your community when trying to advertise to them?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of gaming, the viewers, like, they engage a lot. So you get so much like viewership, even for a small streamer. You get way more than some advertisements on YouTube, etc., like on Twitch, because it's live. They're there in the moment and fully engaging. And yeah, it's so much opportunity for brands to engage in streaming. And then you can also do like tournaments. I know one of my friends lately, she hosted a tournament that was sponsored, and the amount of impressions it got, over 1 million. And to get that for the prize pool that the brand put into it, worth it for big brands.
That smile there, she's like, I know what the price was.
Yeah, it was a lot, but it was worth. And the viewers and targeting audience for gaming as well. You can really target who you're working with depending on what game they play, and there's so many different avenues for sponsorships.
Sure. And for you, Nick, at Guild, what are like the core pillars? So like for you, I know this question wasn't on the notes. So
that's right.
What are like
I should have this one down.
Yeah, for real. Nick's like, crap. Like the company what are like the core pillars for you guys with regards to how you engage with gamers?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I think
pillars?
Ruby's just touched on streaming and how valuable streaming is, but I would encourage everyone to stop thinking about streaming, and not for Ruby. We play her as a pro now, so she's all right. But and actually just think about gaming comes to life in the physical. Really, that's when it's really, really, really valuable. I'll give you a couple of examples. Did a VidCon event where there were loads of stands, obviously at VidCon, lots of meet and greets with creators. But we did an engaging Street Fighter Tower of Power. You could climb up the tower. And we had 10 times more people than anyone else on the stand. We did an event with Guild recently for Samsung Mobile where we helped them to try and drive footfall to a Westwood stand where we put on a mini esports tournament, and then it went up 700, 800% in terms of footfall. It really is a great way for you to actively engage with the user. And that's what we do at Guild. So we have a college. So we have this year is the start of our college. So BTEC students can come and study BTEC at our venue, which is only a quarter of a mile up the road. We have an academy, so physical academy. People can come in. They also spend time on the academy online, obviously. Ruby's our first graduate from the academy into a full pro contract. And so really our pillar is about engaging as many people as possible, physically and online, with competitive gaming. The big problem with esports as a term is that it's become a very small subculture. And what we're trying to do as Guild is say that any time that anyone plays a game competitively, they're in that esports environment. And so we're building what you could categorize as a football club or a traditional sports club, but in the gaming space.
Yeah, and I think, so at Imagen, we have 35,000 Gen Z and 111 countries around the world. Trust me, I was going to get that in somewhere. And one of the interesting things that we see, so we have a self-service platform that clients use. They type in keywords and it pulls up qualitative responses from the community from around the world. And when we see clients asking questions around gaming, the passion you see from our Gen Z community when they're speaking around gaming is completely different to anything else. The way they speak about their favorite creators is like, at times I'm like, okay, this is a bit weird, bro. Like, they talk about them almost like their best friends. And they're just like, yo, I love this creator because da-da-da-da-da-da. And then they're listing like 300, 400 word responses about why they love this specific gamer. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like, I'm obsessed with football. So I used to play football when I was a kid, whatever. I used to be semi-pro. It's not a big deal. But the most interesting thing is when I was a kid, I saw Thierry Henry. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but whatever. I saw Thierry Henry at Shoreditch House one time. And I was so excited to see him there. Like, I nearly lost my mind. But I was nowhere near as excited as these kids are. Talking about these guys, no offense, but I'm like, they're like gaming. And I'm like, why are you this excited? And then when you're seeing that in the data, and these guys are just answering these questions, they're getting paid to answer these questions, but they're doing it in their own privacy of their own home, and they're being really authentic about it. And I think gaming is one of the very few industries where you really, really see this, and you see this at scale globally in 111 markets around the world, which is cool. But Ruby, that was my plug, you see what I'm doing. But Ruby, for you, what are you excited about? What's the future look like? What's coming up? I know this, again, not on the notes,
Yeah.
but what's coming up in the future?
I mean, with gaming, it can be literally anything. It's so broad, the spectrum of what you can fit into gaming, like advertising, companies getting involved, different markets, different.
That was aggressive.
Yeah, just full different avenues for gaming, new games coming up, new advertisements, and advertising isn't that big in gaming just yet, in my opinion. It can be so much more, but it's brands have to figure out a way in order to get involved in gaming, because if you do it the conventional way, people that play video games are not going to care. They're just going to skip past, like you skip adverts on YouTube, like quickly skip that. But if you get it fully involved and you get, like you run a tournament in a specific game and you sponsor it, then people really get excited about it and you bring up so much impressions and the viewership is just crazy. Yeah. And you can do so much interactive stuff with gaming. That's the thing that everybody needs to hit on with advertising, is interacting with the viewers. That's why they're playing video games and not watching a YouTube video. Yeah, for sure. Although that does hint into gaming as well, so it's massive.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing I love about the way you're saying it, firstly, I just love how passionate you are about it. But I think the interesting thing for me is that the way you speak about it, if I was a brand, I would just ask Ruby what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, okay, I want to...
She likes that idea as well.
Yeah, for Ruby's like, show me the money. But I'd be like, Ruby, we want to turn up in this... How do we do this authentically for your community? Again, authentic, terrible. But how can we do this properly for your community? So I definitely think that's a really good answer. Nick, last question's coming to you.
Yeah,
and then we're going to go to the audience, because you guys have got massive amounts of questions. What is next for Guild? What are you guys doing next? What are you excited about?
So we've doubled the amount of teams that we have. So we're going to have 8 teams from next year, 8 pro teams. We'll have 4 academy teams as well, which is double what we had last year. We have 3 full female roster teams as well. That's a huge thing. We obviously have a major partnership with Sky Broadband. So there's huge plans about how we're going to amplify that across the UK next year. We're moving into a game called CSGO, which is actually now Counter-Strike 2. They're just launching a new game. And I think that's really what I would point people, if you've not heard about that game, to look at that game, to just understand really the scale that we're talking about and the opportunity. We talk about, in digital content, social engagements like likes and shares, right? But that game, for example, yesterday had 1.4 million peak users of that game at any point in the day. And that's not dropping from down any lower than 1.2 at any point during the day. So you're talking about tens of millions of users who are probably having an average game time of, 2-3 hours, I would say, probably, for that game. That's engagement, right? So I think with what we're trying to do is make sure that we are doing things where people are spending their time, and then inadvertently we'll obviously be able to deliver for our partners as well. So we're moving into that title. We are also looking at ways to really find new talent. So we're developing a lot of tools around scouting and really giving people the opportunities to come and compete. So it's going to be a very exciting year.
Love it. I've got 45 seconds for a question. Anybody got a question? Yes, question in the back, question in the front. We've got questions all over the place. You choose. I'm not going to choose because they're going to fight me after.
Shout if that helps.
Yes, she already took over. I love this.
Say, what has been your favourite brand activation?
Did you hear that?
To me.
Yes, to you. Well, it's not definitely.
Yeah, sorry. What's been your favourite brand activation, and where have brands done really well in this space? Because I feel like sometimes it's difficult for them to know what to do and how to do it well, and how to really gel with yourselves as gamers, streamers, and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you always get, as a streamer yourself, all streamers have their business email. You get tons of emails. I delete most of them because they're not addressed to myself, or they're not something that actually gets me excited and something that I'm interested in. I would only do it if I'm interested in it, in the brand itself. But then also there's different aspects like sponsoring orgs, like Guild. So they introduced me to other sponsorships as well. And sponsoring orgs, like it's just everywhere. All people that like look at the pro players, see the brands because they're on their t-shirt, they're on their jersey representing that. And then there's also the way of going through tournaments. So that brings up a lot of hype, although it is a one-time thing, which I guess you could do multiple tournaments. But sponsoring that gives a lot of hype and impressions if you're looking for like an initial boost. But then sponsoring streamers, like you have your overlay on your stream, so people see like Skee go past on my stream because Guild's sponsored by them, so then they're therefore on my stream.
Yes, love that. It was actually the same question from.
Well, I was going to double down on one section, which was.
I've run out of time.
I'm going to ask anyway.
Yeah,
very quick.
bro. It was him that did it. I'm not part of this.
I'm going to double down on what brand involvement have you had the most fun with recently?
Ooh, good question.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Am I allowed to say the Skee?
Should I say Skee?
You can say it, but without you can.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can say like obviously one of our co-owners is David Beckham, and Ruby, you got to spend some time with David recently, didn't you? Which was really fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to speak for you. But.
Yeah, but it is that. I just don't know how much I can say about it. But we recorded some fun stuff with Skee, and yeah.
And I'd want some time with David Beckham myself.
Yeah.
So he snuck a question. It wasn't my fault. I appreciate you guys for coming and listening. This has been Ruby. This has been Nick. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.